Happening now, New York's lieutenant governor arrested and facing charges in connection with campaign finance fraud. And we're getting more guidance on the newly passed alcohol-to-go law in the Empire State, how this impacts local bars and restaurants next. Plus, we head to Westfield as a push to honor Vietnam veterans is underway.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now. This is WNY News Now with live breaking news.
New York State's lieutenant governor was arrested today on federal campaign finance charges. Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould, and we start with breaking news now. Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin is accused of bribery, wire fraud, conspiracy, and other related offenses. That's according to an unsealed indictment. Benjamin allegedly attempted to get campaign contributions as trade for securing a state grant. The U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York has not commented yet, but they are going to hold a press conference this afternoon. Prior to the indictment, a spokesperson for Benjamin's campaign said once they found out the contributions in question were sourced improperly, they were donated to the Campaign Finance Board. We, of course, will continue to follow this breaking story and provide updates on air and online.
Well, it's a nice Tuesday out there as you take a look at the Randolph Peaches and Cream Skycam. The clouds have really started to part out there for this early afternoon, and we are going to see a gorgeous amount of sunshine. You can see the satellite picture, those clouds moving away, and we are already starting to get into that sunshine, and there's going to be more of that through the afternoon hours, but enjoy it while we've got it. 60 was the high yesterday, started the day at 42, 81 and 17 are the records for today. So through the afternoon, the clouds will continue to break apart, otherwise mostly sunny from this point onward through the end of the day, milder 57 to 66. This northwest wind is why the immediate lakeshore is going to stay a little bit cooler. Now we do have even warmer temperatures on the way for tomorrow with more in the way of rain. We'll talk about it with that Ultimate Satellite Solutions 7-day forecast later on in the show, Justin.
All right, Dakota, we'll see you back in just a bit. Thank you. Support is growing to develop Jamestown as a refugee resettlement city. In December, local lawmakers joined community advocacy groups to discuss resettling Afghan refugees in the greater Jamestown area. With the refugee crisis in Ukraine growing, support for the idea is as well, with Congressman Tom Reed now getting behind it. Reed, speaking during a conference call with reporters, agreed that Jamestown is the choice location because of low-cost housing, job availability, easy access to healthcare services, and support from local school programs.
When it comes to refugees like Ukraine, for example, clearly we need to support. That is an American fundamental belief that we are a land of security, a land of freedom, a land of opportunity. And when you see women and children in particular being killed in the streets of Ukraine, that to me harkens the symbol of the Lady Liberty that we all can support, I would hope, on both sides of the aisle. So generally, if these are true refugees, like those of the Ukraine women and children I'm referring to, and they are coming here to embrace that security of America and to be part of the best of America, I support that effort.
Last week, the New York State Enhanced Services to Refugees program was allocated $6 million, double the amount of past years. This funding is on top of $2 million the city eyed back in December to help with the then Afghan refugee talks. A 28-year-old Jamestown woman has pled guilty to her role in selling drugs throughout the community. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Buffalo reports Anastasia Babcock entered the plea on Monday to conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute fentanyl, methamphetamine, and cocaine. Back in October 2020, Babcock, along with co-defendant Juan Martinez, were arrested for the alleged crimes following a drug raid of a Westcott Street residence. Inside the house there, police say they recovered methamphetamine, drug paraphernalia, and around $62,000 in cash. Martinez was previously convicted in this case, and prosecutors say that she's now awaiting sentencing. The charges against Babcock carry a mandatory minimum penalty of 10 years in prison, a maximum of life, and a $10 million fine. Well, the Westfield Fire Department and Westfield Exempt Volunteer Firemen's Association, they'll be holding a ceremony to honor the service of Vietnam veterans later this month. Our Julia Gress has more.
Lyle Holland, a past chief of the Westfield Fire Department and chairman of the event, says the ceremony has been in the works for 3 years after being put on hold due to COVID.
They really kind of got a raw deal with how the war was portrayed, between the media and the public and everything else. So we wanted to make sure we recognized our Vietnam vets to make sure they knew that they were appreciated and that.
Holland says the 50th anniversary of the war is bringing attention to the vets and how poorly they were treated, specifically the use of Agent Orange and its disastrous effects on those who served. Edward Neer, president of the Westfield Exempt Volunteer Firemen's Association and past chief, emphasized the role the veterans played in where the United States is now.
They fought for our country. It's what we have now. They got us what we have now and what we want to keep. I mean, you can't ask for any better than what we have in the States here.
Neer hopes the ceremony will allow the veterans to discuss their experience and how their life has turned out because of it. The president explained how patriotic the area is and its dedication to honoring service. The village also has a memorial to its fallen firefighters and police officers. In the past, the groups have also held ceremonies honoring World War II and Korean War veterans.
We usually have guest speakers here from the different politicians and that. And we'll have a color guard here to recognize the fallen veterans that have passed. We got to contact our chaplain so he can be here with us also. And we got certificates for them and that.
The fire department has partnered with the Vietnam War Commemoration for a number of awards and gifts for the veterans. All local Vietnam veterans and their families are welcome at the ceremony, not just those from Westfield. To register for the event, text Holland at 716-269-4671 with the veteran's first and last name, address, phone number, and how many people will be attending by Friday, April 15th. Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. The ceremony will be held Saturday, April 30th at 2 o'clock at the Westfield Fire Department on Clinton Street. Community members who'd like to participate are welcome. Well, the State Liquor Authority is providing clarification on the permanent alcohol-to-go policy here in New York. The measure was temporarily rolled out during the pandemic to help bars and restaurants boost business while indoor seating was restricted. That policy was so popular, calls grew to make it permanent, a move lawmakers and the governor okayed during their budget. As part of the law, a substantial food order is needed to take out beer, wine, and liquor. Officials say substantial food includes things like sandwiches, soups, or other foods where a fresh, processed, or pre-cooked or frozen food is included. Salads and hot dogs and wings are also okay, although officials say something like a bag of chips, a bowl of nuts, or candy itself is not sufficient. Furthermore, drinks would have to be packaged or sealed in cups or containers to be able to be part of the takeout program. As WNY News Now continues, 5 children were killed in a PA house fire yesterday, the latest in the investigation. And later, the fight against flooding here in New York. The new push in Pennsylvania, the new push now to give local discretion on the issue. Stay with us. WNY News Now will be right back.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Whoa, Pre-Comic Book Day is almost here.
There's comic books for all ages.
Stop on down to Stockwell Comics at 214 Fairmount Avenue in Jamestown and pick up some free comics. From superheroes to science fiction, there are tons of options.
100% free. Just show up on May 7th starting at 11 a.m.
Visit the Northwest Arena on Friday, June 24th, as we celebrate the end of school and say hello to summer. Learn about activities available to youth in the Jamestown area, plus end the night with fireworks at the Tarp Skunks game. Learn more online at ccsolutions716.com.
Welcome to Honest John's Pizzeria, where you are the most important customer.
Everything from freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has it all.
And don't forget the ice cream!
Order online today or check out our 2 great locations with buffets ready for every appetite.
Don't I have the best job in the world?
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
5 children were killed in a house fire in Potter County, Pennsylvania on Monday. According to Pennsylvania State Police, the fire happened on Slingerland Road in Genesee Township around 3:30 in the morning. 5 children were unable to escape the burning home. Troopers say an adult man and woman were able to get out, but were seriously injured when trying to rescue the kids. Both adults were flown to Strong Memorial Hospital in Rochester. In a press release, troopers say their investigation is ongoing, but preliminary information indicates nothing suspicious involved with the fire and that the fire started somewhere in the basement. Troopers do not have an update on the medical condition of the 2 adults who were injured. A GoFundMe has been since started for that family. We have a link to that at WNYNewsNow.com. Governor Kathy Hochul announced that $70 million in a federal grant funding is now available to newly licensed, registered, or permitted child care programs in areas of the state without significant child care slots, also known as child care deserts. The funds are being made available through the American Rescue Plan Act and will be administered by the New York State Office of Children and Family Services. The money will help new child care providers start up in underserved areas. These include startup personnel and support costs. Grant applications can be submitted until May 19th, with award announcements slated for sometime in June. Well, flooding of creeks and streams, that's a rising issue for all regions, and in Pennsylvania, they're looking at the northern tier as among some of the places with the most problems. Infrastructure, farmland properties, and more have been seriously damaged, even swept away as a result of flood waters. State representatives from the northern tier and central PA have now announced an 8-bill package there that seeks to give local governments more authority when addressing waterway improvements. Lawmakers say a lengthy permit process, reliance on the Department of Environmental Protection and other regulatory barriers now prevent local officials and landowners from making necessary water improvements in a timely fashion.
But we have got to look for ways to bring about some sort of meaningful change for our farmers, for our residential communities, for our townships that have structures, and our counties that have structures that they want to protect, but they have not been able to do that because of the regulations that are in place.
Bill sponsors say the package is necessary to protect livelihood properties and local infrastructure. That legislation will likely be introduced sometime this spring. Well, as the war in Ukraine continues, we are sharing never-before-seen footage of our crew's coverage while they were in Poland for nearly 2 weeks. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp covered the refugee crisis firsthand, went to the Ukrainian border 2 weeks ago, and she's sharing additional stories they covered, which we're airing now for the first time. Rachel?
We hit the ground running, chasing leads and following stories all across Poland and at the Ukraine border. Some of those stories even had a local connection to our hometowns in northwest Pennsylvania all the way to the Twin Tiers region of New York. And before our plane took off, headed for Poland, we met with people at the airport who are ready to help Ukraine soldiers.
Yeah, I'm heading to Warsaw, Poland, and I'm going to try and bring some supplies that my friends are going to bring into Ukraine to help the soldiers.
We met William Ehart at the airport terminal. He's with the organization United Helping Ukraine. He's traveling with roughly 10 suitcases full of humanitarian relief. He arranged for people to pick up his supplies at his hotel in Warsaw and then bring it to a warehouse where they were making runs to cities in Ukraine like Lviv and Kyiv.
Things like the things that soldiers really need to jump up and down and run around, like knee pads, sleeping bags, and special bandages, like for big wounds.
He says those are British ex-military looking through the bags, pulling out bandages used for soldiers if they're seriously injured, as well as some knee pads for the soldiers. It's not Earhart's first time making a trip like this. When Russia invaded Crimea a few years ago, he did a similar humanitarian trip to help Ukraine back then too. This is one of many stories that we followed during our time in Poland and at the Ukraine border. You can check out more of our reporting online. At the Capitol, Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you for sharing those stories. Our partners at Lilly Broadcasting now teaming up with the organization Global Empowerment Mission, and they're sending hygiene kits, medical supplies, food, and other aid to help Ukrainian refugees. We have a link on our website, WNYNewsNow.com, for more if you want to donate and help with the cause. Coming up, Kmart's, well, they're headed towards extinction. Now look at the once powerhouse consumer chain that's now down to 3 locations nationwide. And later, the CDC, they're poised to update their masking mandate soon. We have the latest in that front. But first, when we return, a full look at our weather forecast. And boy, looks like it's going to be a pretty good day today. Stay with us.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Celebrate the end of school and say hello to summer with a day of fun activities for children in the Jamestown area, hosted by Collaborative Children's Solutions and the City of Jamestown. The first part of the day happens at Northwest Arena, where both kids and parents alike can learn about activities available to youth. Later in the evening, finish out the night at the Tarp Skunk baseball game, along with a fireworks show at Russell Dietrich Jr. Park. Stop on down on Friday, June 24th, as we celebrate the end of school and say hello to summer.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Brought to you by the Chautauqua Safety Village and the Jamestown Fire Department.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Attention Kmart shoppers. We have Storm Spotter training coming up tomorrow at 7 o'clock online from the National Weather Service in Buffalo. You can register by going to weather.gov/buff/skywarn. Thank you.
The
All right.
NPR voice.
There you go. All right. But in all seriousness, though, Storm Spotter training comes up again tomorrow, 7 o'clock. We need more storm spotters. Again, radar looks above the ground. It's only spotters that see at ground level. And something I kind of wanted to mention, because this is kind of interesting when you look at this. Now, this is the NOAA Drought Monitor. Now, this is from last week. This will get updated tomorrow because it's updated every Thursday. But look at the expanse of the drought from basically from the Midwest all the way out to the West. And this is just the breakdown of kind of how much the drought actually persists out here. And we have a lot of severe and extreme drought conditions out there. Not here, though. That is the good news. But this could be a big-time issue out there, especially as we are now getting into a drier part of the season. We're ultimately going to see the drought conditions, I do think, worse once we go out towards the throughout much of the spring months here. So Getting back to home here, 50 degrees, but notice the clouds have broken apart downtown from the HD News Now cam, so we are going to see a great supply of sunshine throughout much of the day today. Now, here's what's going on the satellite and radar picture. A area of high pressure is built in behind this cold front, so that's why the wind direction has shifted to the north-northwest, but this is a weak area of high pressure. It's ultimately going to get shoved out through the day tomorrow, and we are going to see rain showers returning. So take a look at Future Scan. It does pop up a couple of clouds through the afternoon hours, but I do think the sunshine will really win it out through the day, but there will be some clouds in the sky from time to time. As we go through the overnight hours, we will stay dry, but towards the morning hours, we are going to see a chance for at least a couple scattered showers, maybe a couple rumbles of thunder, especially through the afternoon hours on Wednesday. Temperatures surge well into the 70s tomorrow. That's well above average out ahead of the next front, and then ultimately we're going to see more rain showers returning as we go into Thursday. So take a look at these forecast high temperatures for tomorrow. Yeah, we're going 74 here in town, 72 Randolph, close to 80 degrees once you work up towards the north, up towards Buffalo. So, man, a warm day. But take a look at where we go with the next 7 days, powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions, 61 and falling. On Thursday, we'll likely end the day in the mid-40s. Then we'll stay around average for Friday with at least some partial sunshine. The weekend, it looks like Saturday will be the wettest of the day, but only a couple scattered showers. Easter looking dry for now, and then we get a few mixed rain and snow showers in here for next Monday, Justin.
All righty, Dakota, power up those ACs. Thank you. Well, as you mentioned, the Blue Light Special, it's headed towards extinction. The Kmart store in New Jersey now scheduled to close permanently this Saturday. Once that happens, there will only be 3 Kmarts remaining nationwide. There's one in Westwood, New Jersey, Miami, and Bridgehampton, New York. Kmart used to be a powerhouse in the U.S. with more than 2,000 stores nationwide. However, they, as well as other retailers, have fallen victim to Walmart, Target, and Amazon. Sears Holding, which owned Kmart, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in 2018. Are you ready to fly or catch a bus without wearing a mask? The White House says it's deciding whether to let you do so. It says the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are expected to release a framework for that decision this week. The federal public transportation mask mandate expires Monday unless the Biden administration were to extend it. The White House says that the CDC will release a new framework within days to help make that decision. Right now, people have to wear masks while using public methods of travel, like planes and trains. They also have to wear them in hubs like airports and ferry terminals. Many U.S. airlines say they'd like that mask mandate to come to an end, but cases are starting to kick up in parts of the country. Of course, when it comes to traveling safely, locations do matter. The CDC says a trip to most countries like Europe would be a high-risk one right now. Even countries it classifies as low risk might have complications on the ground. After all, that's how the CDC categorizes China, but Shanghai is under a strict COVID-19 lockdown at the moment. Americans will still be forking out more money for many products as inflation hits a high note not seen since the Reagan administration. The Consumer Price Index increased 8.5% for the year that ended on last month. That's according to the latest data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That outpaces the elevated reading of 7.9% reported in February, and it's a peak not reached since December of 1981. Despite that, there's a bit of good news here. According to AAA, the nationwide average price for a gallon of regular gas Tuesday was just under $4.10. That's an 8-cent dip from last week and 23 cents from the last month. Well, some good news. Next, it's not a pretty sight to see when spring arrives. We see more of this doggy doo-doo around town. Next, we introduce you to a company in our region who's trying to help with things. Stay with us.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
I'm a survivor.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza. Yes.
Make a plan today.
Visit the Northwest Arena on Friday, June 24th, as we celebrate the end of school and say hello to summer. Learn about activities available to youth in the Jamestown area. Plus, end the night with fireworks at the Tarp Skunks game. Learn more online at ccsolutions716.com.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Well, this is spring cleanup time, and if you look around, it's all kinds of litter in many places right now, which the snow has melted. There's plastic bags, paper cups, and yes, lots of dog poop too. Erie News Now's John Last has the story in this edition of The Last Word.
This is a wonderful time of year. Colorful flowers are popping up that make your backyard beautiful. But this is also the time of year to clean up your backyard of some ugly reminders of winter. Dog poop has been piling up in many backyards over the winter. It's not a pretty sight to see when spring arrives and the snow melts. However, homeowners do not have to agonize about cleaning it up. There are businesses that do this dirty job for you. Dylan Foringer is with Plows and Mows of Erie.
Just kind of the snow is all melting, so everyone wants their yard all spruced up and looking good for the summertime.
Very soon, backyards such as this one will be busy. Perhaps it will host an April cookout. The lawn will soon have to be mowed. No one wants to step in a pile of doggy doo. It must be removed.
It all needs to get cleaned up by someone, and that someone's me.
The landscaping business has seen its share of technical improvements over the years, but for this job, the tools remain simple and old-fashioned: a rake and a shovel. A garbage can is used to carry away the waste. This job is almost over, and the can is almost half full.
I'd say this is about average, but there's been some where it's about half or actually 3/4 are full, and it gets pretty heavy, pretty fast.
Dylan says his clients are very thankful that he's available to do this kind of work. He is a professional landscaper and is more often associated with beautiful things, such as freshly cut grass and neatly trimmed shrubbery. How does he really feel about traveling to someone else's yard and picking up poop?
I mean, it's definitely not my favorite, but it's a service that people need, and I'm here to fulfill that need if need be. And like I said, it's not my favorite thing to do, but it pays the bills and it keeps customers happy.
With the last turd, John Last, Erie News Now.
Alrighty, John, thank you. Now, the cost of the cleanup varies, Dakota, from job to job. Dylan tells us that there is an app that gives you an immediate quote. To find out more about his work, log on to our story at WNYNewsNow.com. Boy, I never thought we'd be talking about doggy doo-doo, but it is an issue, I guess, right? If you have a dog and it snows and you
or
don't
even if you don't have a dog.
Yeah. That's true. If your neighbor has a dog.
People just come up and just use your lawn,
let us know what you think about this at WNY News Now on social media. I mean, really, what they say where there's a demand, there'll be somebody to do the job, and why not? I'm sure it's probably pretty lucrative, right? Especially if you have a large yard. You need somebody to maintain the yard, and part of that, I guess, is picking up the droppings.
Mm-hmm. So, they're little calling cards.
Yes, little stacks of love out there. Nevertheless, boy, whew. It's good. It was a good story that stunk. Good story that stunk. That's all I gotta say. Let's get out of here. That's gonna do it for us today. News continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. And of course, on our free mobile app, it's so easy to download in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. And as I mentioned, on social media at WNY News Now. We'll leave you with this live look over Chautauqua Lake. Have a great day. See you back here tomorrow.